Hi, my name's Melvin Reid, and I'm pleased that you're giving me this opportunity to tell you about Stevie Chan and the brilliant Thrive programme. I came to see Stevie because I have a sleeping disorder, and as a consequence I became very exhausted. I was very, very tired. I tried everything. I tried medication, I tried homeopathy, none worked. In fact, they were quite the reverse. So eventually my partner said to me, go and see Stevie Chan, or contact Stevie Chan, because he helped my daughter deal with the smoking, to help my daughter give up smoking. So I did. It was, I eventually met Stevie and we had our first meeting where we discussed what the course would entail. The thing I liked about it was how easy it was to talk to Stevie. He put me at my ease almost immediately. He listened, he offered good advice, he did everything, he dealt with my problems, but most of all he said to me, the problem isn't that you have sleeping or you have a sleeping disorder. He said to me, it's your thinking. And of course, I didn't think I thought, it must be more than that. Surely he puts me to sleep 5 minutes and then tells me to sleep at night and that's it. I've seen it on television, but however, that's neither here nor there. We went through the course and he told me all that was entailed. I would have to do quite a bit of work, and he would do. We would talk, and we would run through the course. It was exhilarating, and when we finished speaking, I had no hesitation whatsoever in signing up for the forthcoming 6 weeks. I felt really good about it. In fact, when I walked out, I thought, this has got to be something that I'm going to appreciate. The course started, and it was interesting because the first thing that he raised, he was saying to me, the problem is you have limited thinking, or you have limitations on your thinking. And I thought, whoa, no, hang on, I don't, because I'm broad-minded. And he said, yes, you do. And he pointed out to me, yes, I do have limited thinking, simply on the basis that I viewed certain everyday simple issues with a way that made me not really fully appreciate the sorts of things that were going on. And for instance, we would talk about things, my disorder. Did I have a disorder, or was it my thinking? And then of course we went into the problem of weight. For people who have a weight problem, it's very easy. What they do is they simply say, I have a weight problem. I'm big boned. I love my food. I'm entitled. Therefore, there's no way I can lose weight. But the thing about it is thinking. And then, of course, smoking. Most people can put up a really good reason why they smoke. People live to 110 and smoke, so why shouldn't I? And the big thing, of course, is I'm addicted to smoking. And if I'm addicted to smoking, then there is no way I can give up smoking. I'm the victim. I am a victim of smoking. So please don't ask me to give up smoking, because it's not my responsibility, it's everybody else's. This was actually very important because I started to realise that it was the way you thought about issues, not about the issues themselves. And Steve and I would discuss this, and these 6 weeks, during the 6 weeks we went over this time and time again, and I began to change my way of thinking. It was a revelation, I would say, absolute revelation. What it did, it gave me an insight into myself. I've always been self-critical, and very self-critical. If I did anything, you're an idiot, you stupid. And I'm sure many people are like that. But what I never did was, if I did something good, say to myself, well, that was a good thing to do. It was because I just thought that being stupid was the important thing, and doing good things were not that important. And suddenly, and it was Stevie who showed me that in fact, doing good things, you're entitled to a pat on your back, as he says. He always says, pat on the back. And suddenly you think, hang on, he's right, you know. And the thing is, you then start to change how you think about issues. Simple things can be seen as a good thing for somebody else. You do something simple for someone else, but for them it's actually a big thing. The thing that we discussed, of course, was saying thank you to a member of staff in a shop. Remember that they may have 99 people who are horrible, but if you go in and say thank you to them, it's you that they remember, and it perhaps potentially improves their day. There is insight. The insight into my life was absolutely great, and I realised that I did accept certain views without hesitation. As I said earlier, we were talking about this. But the thing about it was, one of the things that we often hear about are people who say, do you know, I've read this book and it changed my life. For many people it was, I think, Catching the Rye seems to have, when they read Catching the Rye when they were younger. For me, it was Ragged Trousered Philanthropist. Changed my life. However, I've looked back over time and it hasn't changed my life. It didn't change my life at all. I mean, it's a good book, it provided me with food for thought, but it hasn't changed my life whatsoever. Why? Because I didn't let change take place. I didn't think about it. I thought, okay, this is terrible, this is, look how these poor people are treated. How did it affect me? It didn't. I didn't change my life. What Stevie's course did is say to me, when you do something, you have to change. You cannot continue as you go along. And so I've started to really change my thought. And what has happened is that I'm now taking control of my life. My life. Not someone else's. My life. I'm taking control. I've stopped being self-critical. I no longer say to myself, you're an idiot. What I say is, hang on, you've made an error, fix it. Anybody else would have made this same error. I no longer panic. I no longer press that panic button. How many of you park your car and when you come back you can't find it? How many put your hand in your pocket, you can't find your keys? What's the reaction? I've lost my keys, it's back in Debenhams, or someone's stolen my car. And yet the big panic. But now what we have is, or what I do, and what we all should do, is say, oh, hang on a minute, if I didn't park it here, I'm clearly in the wrong section. And sure enough, you walk round a bit and you find your car. And of course, the keys are always in the other pocket. But there's been that panic. But with you change your thinking, you actually cease to panic and start to sit back and say, well, hang on, no, that's not right. What is correct? And you find the answer. It's so very, very simple. One of the things I do, of course, is that, and Steve pointed this out, we all have certain characteristics, and one of mine was a brooder. Jargon, not big on jargon, but brooder is one of the words that's used. I was a brooder in that I always worried about issues all the time. I brooded on them, and I thought, and the thing about it is, what I tended to do was brood on little minor issues that with a bit of thought can be dealt with immediately. Receiving letters. Receive a letter, you pick the words that you want to see, you respond to that, you panic, you run around, you say that it's all going wrong, and blow me down if you then don't just after a few minutes of the panicking, you sit down and say to yourself, oh, just read that again. You go, oh, hang on, it wasn't that at all. It's just I have responded to certain words in the letter, which was taken totally out of context. I don't do that anymore, and I've learnt that quite a great deal. So I no longer worry, because one of the things is, as Stevie has pointed out to me, and I mean, you probably know it yourself, but you never let it go into your mind. You can't do anything about the past. The past is gone. You might be able to make minor changes now, because some sort of overspill from the past. And you can't do anything about the future because it's not there yet. What you need to do, by focusing on the present, you can perhaps deal with problems that still continue from the past, and you can plan for the future. But the important thing is not to become obsessively focused on planning for the future. The present is the important thing, and it is central that you need to think about the present. And that's where your focus should always be, on the present. Remember the past, and don't get obsessive about the future. It's going to come, and as the Fleetwood Mac says, you know, it's nearer than you think. So what were the benefits of this course? Well, the first thing, the most important thing, is that I've changed my thinking. I think positively rather than negatively. I've always been a negative thinker, and I've always been, as I said, self-critical. And people would say to me, but you've achieved good things, but you never say that. You always see everything, you've achieved qualifications, but it was because of someone else helped you. You've done this, but because of the circumstances. Ultimately, it was my efforts that achieved it. And I'm now seeing myself as, yes, I've done that. And I don't want to be boastful about it, because I don't think that does any good. But what I need to do is recognise my input, not everybody else's, and suggest that I don't have any input whatsoever. I'm more relaxed, much more relaxed. I don't get excited anymore. I don't drive as if I just want to be the only person on the road. And how dare that person overtake me and cut me up. They don't cut me up anymore. All they do is they overtake me and then pull over to the left. I don't see it so aggressively anymore. But most importantly, my language has changed. I have a really good way of thinking now. I think and I speak positively. In my mind, I say to myself, when I would say, I can't do this, I now say, I can do this. And all the little jobs at home, which I would have asked somebody or paid someone to do, I now do. And surprisingly, how quickly you can do something in 5 minutes, but it would have cost you 20 quid to get someone else to do it. My never has been replaced by can do. And my views on when I'm asked to do to go somewhere, with my partner says to me, should we go there? Normally I would have found all sorts of reasons to get out of it. But now I say yes. I will say no, yes, we'll do that. And what is the benefit of that? Because when I go there, I find I enjoy myself. So essentially, if I said no, I'd be at home miserable, or doing something that I always do. But when I go there, I enjoy myself, and I come away thinking, that was really good. I'm so pleased that I went there. It's because I have changed my way of thinking. Think positively, not negatively. Do. And always remember, the thing about it is, if you miss a point, you can't do it again. It's like when you say to somebody, I'm not going to their wedding, and you don't go to the wedding. No matter how heartbroken you are in later years for missing it, you've missed it. It's not going to happen again. So these are all the ideas that have come up into my mind. and it sort of changes, the changes. Hang on. Yep. The other thing, perhaps the most important thing, is that I said earlier, right at the beginning, that I had a sleeping disorder. Now, if I have a sleeping disorder, there's no way I can sleep. I can't sleep because I have a sleeping disorder. It's cause and effect. But what I've discovered is that I don't have a sleeping disorder. What I have is I don't sleep, or I didn't sleep. And I've changed my thinking on that. It's the notion that I can't lose weight. Why shouldn't I lose weight? Well, because one, I'm too old. Two, crikey, at my age, I'm entitled to a few treats. Yeah, that's why I couldn't lose weight. Now I don't take that view. But with sleeping, I say to myself, it's not a disorder, you just don't sleep, or you haven't slept. And do you know what? I'm sleeping now. But the most important thing is that there have been other side effects. I am beginning to control my weight and weight loss. I don't panic anymore in saying to myself, I need to lose 10 pounds in the next week, or 7 pounds in the next 10 days. I say to myself, what I need to do is lose weight a bit at a time. And if I lose a stone in a year, I've lost a stone in the year. That's thinking. And the other thing that is perhaps most important is I have high blood pressure. I didn't have high blood pressure. It came as a consequence of, it came after, and I don't know if that was the cause of it, it came after a particularly stressful time in my life. And to discover I have blood pressure, that's shocking, because I'd always had perfect heart issues. But now, because I'm more relaxed, because I'm sleeping, my blood pressure's gone down. And in fact, I was saying earlier to Stevie that it's as if in some cases I'm almost dead, because my blood pressure, when I take it in the morning, has fallen so much. What is all this about? It's about that I have changed my way of thinking. I no longer think that you are an addict, that you can't sleep because you have a sleeping disorder, and sleeping disorders don't make you think. I don't think that there's nothing I can do about my weight because I'm too old or whatever. What I think about is I can do something about it because it's my responsibility. Thinking, my responsibility. It isn't these myths that we read about and we hear about in the Daily Mail, Daily Express and Daily Telegraph, whichever newspapers you read. But it's responsibility. It's your responsibility. You can stop smoking. Why do I know that? I've never smoked, but I know that because people do give up smoking. So if it was addictive in the way that's supposed to be addictive, people wouldn't be able to give up smoking. But people do give up smoking. People choose to smoke. They benefit from smoking. Sadly, the benefits of smoking are far outweighed by the damaging that smoking does. So, all in all, having come to see Stevie, I have learnt in the 6 weeks, I finished about 4 weeks ago, and in those 6 weeks I learnt so much. In the 4 weeks since, I have changed my way of thinking. I'm not there yet, but I'm getting there. So, all as I can say, if you want to lose weight, if you want to stop smoking, if you want to improve your golf, whatever the aim, Stevie Chan's the name.